Hello and welcome to this presentation of Intel AMT Commander and VRAM. My name is Ilian Saint-Hilaire and we're just basically going to cover the non-volatile RAM part or feature of Intel AMT. So I'll assume that you know a little bit about Intel AMT Commander already. I'll get it running. I'll click on the machine, go ahead and connect into that machine that I've set up. Takes a few seconds. And I'll go and access the NVRAM or data storage part of AMT. Now what's nice about NVRAM is that it's basically spare flash. In this case I have 198K of spare flash on the platform, and I can go and store and read data. I can do it when a computer is in any state, as long as it's connected on a network and has power, even if it's soft off. And you can do it even if the hard drive is swapped in or out, and so on and so forth. So what I can do, and by the way, a typical application of NVRAM would be that you occasionally store the list of all the applications that are installed on that computer into NVRAM. And so at night, the management console can go and read all the list of not only the hardware assets that that computer has, but also all the stored applications, all the installed applications that are on that computer. So let's get started. A few things to start first before we start allocating RAMs and storing data is take a look at these three buttons here. First, there's the global settings. The global settings basically say how the 198K or 48 blocks of NVRAM will be partitioned. So this is a little peculiar here, but there's basically two ways that a block of memory can be allocated off of NVRAM. One is in a partner storage and one is in a non-partner storage. So typically the partner storage, and what I've seen is that they allocate 48 blocks to partner storage, and they put something here. Now partner storage will always precedes non-partner storage. So if you have partner storage allocated to 48 blocks, then somebody trying to allocate non-partner, it will never work. What I do recommend you do is you drop down the max partner storage a little bit. For example, I'll drop it to 44 and the non-partner to 4. So this way non-partner apps can connect. It can allocate 4 blocks or 16K, and the rest will be allocated to partner storage. I'll say OK here. There you go. And so this will change the settings inside the AMT machine to reflect that. Now there's two different things here, and one is called the enterprise list. Before you allocate any memory, you need to create an enterprise. Now really enterprise is not a very good name. What I prefer to call it is an administrative domain. When you're in a computer, when you're a computer and you're within, for example, Intel IT right here at Intel, usually you're only going to have one administrative domain. And I'm just going to create one, my admin domain, and say add. OK. And it will pop up here under data storage. So what you can do is read or write data and register applications and so on and so forth within that administrative domain. You can have up to 4 administrative domains inside your computer, and basically it allows multiple administrators to use the NVRAM without colliding with each other. So let's just create our administrative domain here, and you can create up to 4, and that will allow me to get started. Now there's also something called the applications list. Now the applications list is what we call the partner applicationer. Basically, if you don't register your application with the applications list in the partner list here, then you get to only allocate as much as the non-partner RAM allows. In this case, we set it to only 4 page or 16K. If you register your application ahead of time here, then you get the additional benefit of being able to allocate more space in the NVRAM. So what I'm going to do is I can create a sample application, sample vendor, sample app, and this allocation is not. It's not going to reserve RAM. It's basically my maximum that I can use. So for example, if I say 4 here, then this application, my sample vendor, sample app, can allocate at most 16K. Now the sum of all these apps and all these allocations can be more than 192, but any one of these apps can't exceed its own limit. So I'll go ahead and say close. And now we can get started on actually allocating blocks and pages of NVRAM. I'm going to click on allocate block here. I select the administrative domain I want to use. I select partner or non-partner. If I select partner, I have to pick one of the apps that's already registered in my application list. If I select non-partner, then I can type in and write my own application and my own vendor here. So what I'm going to do is start out by selecting a vendor partner app, sample vendor. I'm going to allocate, let's say, 2 blocks of 4K, so that's going to be 8K. And sample, I got a block. I'm going to allocate 8K. And there you go. So I'm going to open up the administrative domain. I see my app. Inside I see my sample block. My sample block is 8K long. And right now there's no storage in that 8K, there's no data, but I can say load from file, and I'm just going to go and take a file here with some data in it and say open. And what AMT Commander did is it pushed the data file into NVRAM. Now because I only have 8K allocated here, if the data file is more than 8K, Commander will reject and toss an error. But as long as the file you store is below 8K, that should work. I can also take this file and save it back. So I'll read it from NVRAM and save it. And I'll go ahead and save it here. It will create another file. Now I just want to highlight something. I'm just going to rename this to a .text file and open it with Notepad. You'll notice that this is a sample data file, and there's a whole bunch of padding here. Now this padding is actually 8K's worth of padding. So I just want to highlight the fact that when you store data into NVRAM, you're always going to store up to that limit, and when you read the entire 8K, and it's your responsibility to figure out when your data ends. So if you don't know how much data you're going to store and you're not sure how to end, I do recommend that you store the size of the data first, and then so when you read the data, you know when the data ends and when the padding starts for the rest of it. So very good. I'm going to go ahead and just allocate another block. Allocate block. Now I can allocate blocks multiple within a vendor. So I'm going to allocate one more. I'll call it a small block within the same vendor. Just one page of 4K. I'll hit allocate. Oops, actually I allocated under a different vendor. But anyway, it's 4K here. And I have my sample block 8K there. I'll just go ahead and allocate another block within this vendor. I'll call it small block also. Allocate. And now I have 2 blocks underneath this vendor, 1 block under this other vendor. I'll go ahead and say allocate, and this time I'm going to use the non-partner, and I'm going to allocate only 2 non-partner block. I'll say vendor and app, say allocate, and now I've allocated a non-partner block of 8K, and there we go. So this application is basically not registered within the list of known applications. Now, of course, when you just got your AMT machine for the first time, and you try to do this, you try to allocate a block with the non-partner, actually you may end up having the application show up, but no blocks being allocated, and that's because the partner applications in the global settings that we've seen here, if it's set to 48, then basically non-partner apps can't allocate anything at all. So I always recommend just dropping it down a little bit and just letting the non-partner apps have a few pages just for your trials. You'll notice that right now I have 24K of allocated space that is actually being used, and I have 192 free. So basically that's it. That's all my demonstration of Intel IAMT and VRAM. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.